Welcome back to Start Your Day. Colorado's Attorney General says the Aurora Police Department has a pattern of racially biased policing. That is the conclusion of a civil rights investigation sparked by the killing of 23-year-old Elijah McClain. That was 2 years ago. McClain, who was black, detained by 3 Aurora police officers. They put him in a chokehold, gave him a powerful sedative, ketamine. He died 3 days later. The investigation found the department has long had a culture of, quote, treating people of color, especially black people, differently than white people, more harshly, we should say. I want to welcome back to BNC Boulder, Colorado's Mayor Pro Tem, Council Member Junie Joseph. Junie, it's always great to have you join us for insight. So, thank you so much for starting your day right here on BNC. You're in Boulder, it's just 35 miles from Aurora. What surprises does this announcement hold for you? Because there are some.
Good morning. Thank you so much. It's great to be here with you as well. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about this very important issue. And also condolences again to the McClain family. As a community member and a community leader, this was a really, really important press conference from AG Weiser and bringing forward, what's been happening in this particular police department. What came out of this report are things that we can see from the outside, but we didn't have the right word to express them. And I think today, or when AG Weiser had the press conference, he laid out and affirm a lot of our beliefs that, some of those police departments, more precisely the Aurora Police Department, there are really substantial human rights issues going on in there that needs to change. A lot of their practices need to change, and I think that's what that press conference did.
It's almost like a throwback. The report is just scathing the way it talks about the disparity of treatment. You would think that it's 50 years ago. You've been part of a subcommittee looking at the Boulder Police Department's master plan. How has that been going? Give us some detail.
We have a fantastic Chief Maris. She's working really hard. She's looking at the data. And also, as part of the process subcommittee, it's not substantive. It's more procedural, the work that I do as a member of that subcommittee. But a lot of it is community engagement. We've launched different community engagement processes to talk with community, to find out how can we help them? What have we done in the past that has not worked, and what can we do to improve? And that's very important. And I think, again, as well, as was mentioned in the report, part of it really is about improving community relationship between police officers. And if we keep going the way that we're doing with this very antagonistic relationship between the community and the police department, it is not sustainable. And I think in the subcommittee in Boulder, that's what we're trying to do, improve community and ensure that community and people center is at the forefront of the work that we do.
So do you believe then that the state's investigation into Aurora will impact your city's plan?
Most definitely, it will have an impact, not just here in Boulder, Colorado. It's going to have an impact in the United States as a whole, and possibly the rest of the world that's looking at the United States as a beacon of hope. Yet we have so many issues in dealing with police departments and police officers and the people who are residents of these different areas. So I think it's definitely going to have a huge impact. And it can only improve things, because at the end of the day, it's about accountability and transparency. And that's what this report is doing, and will likely lead to a different level of accountability, because as was mentioned in the report, Black people in Aurora make up 15%, but they are 2.5 times more likely to be stopped by the police and to have that police engagement. And the question is why? And I think that report put to the forefront a lot of people of color already know. They know because they've experienced it. But now the rest of the world know, the rest of Colorado know what's been happening.
Yeah, and I mean, just some of the things in that report, it talked about the observation of unlawful excessive force, unconstitutional excessive force, not allowing subjects even the time to respond to a command before taking them down, people in mental health crisis who were no threat to themselves or others being treated in a physically harsh way. How do you think the investigation is going to change the policing practices in Aurora and even throughout the state? I mean, because people want change now.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yes, you're right. Again, as I mentioned to you, Black people have experienced these things, and we've talked about them. We've been talking about police brutality. This is not the first time. This is the first time we have a report coming from the AG's office discussing these issues, right? And I think as well, the changes that are being demanded from the police departments, I believe, will really improve the system. First of all, we have to acknowledge there is a problem, which AG Weiser has done for the first time coming from his office. Yes, that there is a problem. And now he also outlined some of the changes that need to take place. And I do believe if these changes are put into place, they are put into practice effectively, they will change policing. And if you look at the report, it says more specific standards and expectation on when officers should stop people, or different preventions on racial biases. I think these, if they're really taken into account and they're effectively implemented within these departments, I do believe we can see a lot of changes.
Yeah, it talked about in that report that so-called Terry stops weren't even being documented as they're by law supposed to do. You got big challenges in the state of Colorado, throughout the country, really. But when you joined us before, it was around the time of that mass shooting at the supermarket. We're about 6 months since that time, and I'm just wondering about the community and what's taken place since in the way of any healing, which is still so fresh.
Yeah, it's been challenging. It's been very challenging, dealing with a mass shooting, dealing with the loss of loved ones and community members. It has not been easy. But again, the people of Boulder we are very resilient. We've been working hard. We started a community, similar to a community center, to provide mental health support to community members after the shooting. So we are doing a lot of engaging with community to ensure that people are not fall into the wayside because of mental health
Yeah.
issues, which is also part of why we're here today discussing Elijah McClain. Is that at the end of the day we need a different approach on how we engage with community, as whether it's government agencies or police departments.
Yeah, we got to keep saying his name. Elijah McClain, by all accounts, a beautiful spirit. Never deserved this. And what this community, your community, all communities need right now is coming together. Cannot afford this division. Junie Joseph, Boulder's Mayor Pro Tem, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.